Wifies, a Minecraft YouTuber commonly associated with semi-challenging escape rooms and traps, has recently built an allegedly perfect Minecraft trap. And whenever a YouTuber calls out a phrase only Sven would put in his prison video titles, my prison brain starts tinkling. So let's look at this trap. The mechanic itself is actually quite interesting and an actual cool design. When you come close to the trap, a skulk sensor will send an initial explosion of TNT minecarts, exploding the trap. After this trap, a chunk ban will activate. A chunk ban is a mechanic very commonly used in prisons, so to summarize. A chunk ban is a shulker filled with books with a maximum amount of data. Whenever the shulker box is loaded, all the data will be sent to the player. The player's computer will get totally overloaded by all the data of the chunk ban, therefore kicking the player from the server. So after the player is kicked, the system will kill a bunch of baby zombies. The XP of this will turn the stone into skulk. This is done to reduce the blast resistance from the normal 6 from stone to 0 from skulk, making the whole chunk easier to explode. Which, by the way, feels extremely overkill. Come on, you have 1700 TNT. Do you really think these few blocks matter? Here's a picture of after the explosion with the stone transferring to skulk, and here a picture of without. But I guess you needed to put more useless information in your video to distract from this absolutely terrible design of a trap. After a part of the stone has been transferred to skulk, 4 dispensers start dispensing TNT minecarts. And a little while later, all the hundreds of blocks of TNT gets activated and the whole chunk explodes. But I know what you're thinking. But the player's not even there. What's the point of blowing up the whole chunk? Well, that's a good question, my dear hypothetical viewer. You see, after the whole chunk has been blown up, the chunk ban deactivates and blows up. This will allow the player to join back onto the server, only for them to find themselves floating in a crater of what once was the trap, and a big fall to the void, which will eventually kill them. So this seems like a good trap, but is it really? Well, let's first point out the elephant in the grounds. Every moron who would see this diamond block in the wild would use something like a compulsor glitch to see what's underneath it. And let's be realistic, a single dig to the bottom and the destruction of 2 redstone lines would completely render the whole trap useless. But as there's literally no mechanism to prevent this, I would just ignore it. Let's give Wifies the benefit of the doubt here. Of course, I could just ask a friend to come in after the chunk ban has been deactivated to cover up the massive void crater left behind by the trap. So, when I log back onto the server, I won't drop into the void, but just on the floor. But this idea is impossible, seeing as I don't have any friends. But this method would also be too easy. But then how would one survive this trap? Well, thanks again, dear hypothetical viewer. Let's walk through the whole trap once again, but approached by someone who is definitely not the deadliest player in Minecraft, but instead by me. Approaching this trap goes about the same as usual. I walk up to the trap with a shield just to be sure. The initial explosion damages my shield, but far from kills anyone near the trap. The chunk ban kicks me and the whole chunk gets obliterated by the TNT and TNT minecart. And now comes the interesting part. After the chunk ban deactivates, I log back onto the server. And I am gone. Let's rewind a little bit. No, not to the start of the trap. A little bit before that. You see, like any half-decent prison builder, I understand the importance of an ender pearl stasis chamber. This design is a string to detect whether or not the player is online, as the pearl will disappear whenever I go offline. When the system gets depowered, and then repowered again by me getting kicked and relogging, it will teleport me back to the spot outside of the crater, effectively saving me from the last part of the trip. Just throw an ender pearl whenever you get back online onto the walls of the crater, and you don't need the whole contraption and redstone and stuff. Just throw an ender pearl. Like, the crater's kind of big. You don't need all the redstone. You have plenty of time to throw an ender pearl. Shut up. But now that the whole dramatic part is out of the way, let's get the real heist going. And with this video, the objective for Wifies ignorant and definitely not
2 of the deadliest and most untrappable players, Wreckrap and Parrot.
Because be real, you know there is a trap there. Wifies told you there's a trap there, and you decide to get experience bottles. Experience bottle rather than a bow. It can get the same results. You can just shoot an arrow from further away and you will still see it exploding. You would even be outside of chunk ban range. You wouldn't even have to activate a trap. You could just shoot it from a distance, walk away, and you just see as the whole chunk explodes. You didn't even need But their objective was to obtain the diamond block. Seeing as it's the sole objective of the trap to protect that diamond block, or more so prevents people from getting it, as it does get obliterated by the whole trap. But I am sure it is totally not possible to bypass all the security measures and steal the diamond block. Right? I'm sure that the main trigger of the whole trap can be bypassed by simply breaking and placing a wall block in its place to silence the signal. Right? Breaking these 3 specific blocks and replacing them to wall instantly leaves enough room to break into the cage, obtain a diamond block, and just literally walk out. Oh, and just for the sake of the trap,